What is up, my friends? And you are very welcome along to this very special Anfield Agenda transfer news roundup, where we are going to be talking about Liverpool acting like the big boy in the transfer market. We're going to be talking Isak, we're going to be talking Ekitike, Rodrygo, Luis Diaz departure, and lots more. Stuff has really started to move over the last 12 hours, and I'm going to do my best to bring it to you. The good news: I will be back here tonight, 8:45 sharp, for the late night agenda. I need you here with me. We have a lot to go through and news that you certainly will not want to miss. So I'm going to get stuck into it. But before I do, if you want the news before anybody else, make sure that you come across and join the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp channel. You can just scan that QR code there on the screen. That will bring you right in, where we will keep you up to date with all the breaking news around a massive day for Liverpool Football Club in our search for a striker. Right. Let's get stuck into it. So, Isak and Ekitike remain prominent in Liverpool's thinking, but various factors would need to align for such an interest to develop. That's how David Ornstein started off the day, but things have moved along rather quickly, my friends. So, keep going with me. I'm going to do this in chronological order. So, next up, we had Lee Ryder breaking to say Newcastle's move for Ekitike has alerted Liverpool on two accounts. Arne Slot remains keen on Isak. The Swedish international is Liverpool's number one target. Secondly, Ekitike is looked at as the backup option for the Reds if we can't get Isak in. So to cut a long story short here, ladies and gentlemen, what Liverpool have started to do today is say to Newcastle, right, we want Isak, and they have made official contact with Newcastle to inform them we want Isak. But we've also let it be known that if we can't get Isak, well, we're coming in for Ekitike. So it's starting to move quickly. More on it over the next few minutes, but we do want to know your thoughts, so do let us know in the comments section. Right, next up, and by the way, to all the people yesterday who came in to belittle me, my community, and everybody else saying Liverpool, stop talking about Isak. Well, we told you this wasn't over, and it isn't over. Isak and Ekitike remain prominent in their thinking, said David Ornstein, but Ornstein talking about interest the morning after he previously claimed that he wasn't for sale. See how things move quickly here. So yes, David Ornstein, like I've always said, is a brilliant journalist, but he and any other journalist only work with the information that clubs give them. But it doesn't mean that we as the footballing fandom don't have to believe this nonsense. Of course Newcastle are going to say the player isn't for sale. I've said this to everybody for a long time. They're not going to want the world to know that they may have Isak money coming in if they're trying to buy Ekitike. They were hardly going to say, yeah, we're going to buy him and then we're going to think about selling him. Now, I'm not saying we get Isak, but what I am saying is it's becoming quickly clear to Newcastle that if we don't get Isak, then we're going to take Ekitike. And that's what big clubs should be doing. And I'm all for it, ladies and gents. I'm all for it. I told you, this is the summer of shithousery, and Liverpool are right there doing their job. So, David Ornstein now, speaking about Darwin Nunez. He's expecting that a move for Darwin Nunez will progress again soon, with both Napoli and Al Hilal keeping tabs on the forward. Now, it looks as if Napoli have made a rather weird offer for that Udinese forward, a €6 million loan fee with then a guaranteed €26 million sale. Bit of a weird one, like if they're cheaping out on a player that was supposed to be the replacement for Darwin Nunez. See, I'm not buying that they're finished with Darwin. Right, so David Ornstein also speaking about Chiesa, said Federico Chiesa is considered an option down the middle for Liverpool. So that is a little bit of good news, because we're starting to look at the options Liverpool have, and we're starting to say, you know, if this player goes, that player goes, how many more are we going to be missing? Because it looks like Liverpool may lose a winger because someone's trying to force their way out. More on that in a second. Rodrygo. Yes, Real Madrid's Rodrygo. Many reports coming out of Spain today to say that he is a clear target for Liverpool. Real Madrid value the winger at about 60 to 80 million euro, according to Mundo Deportivo. But it isn't just them, ladies and gents. There is a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff coming out today around Liverpool and Rodrygo. So let me paint a picture for you. There is a world where Liverpool are trying to get Rodrygo, Isak, Wirtz, and all of the other targets in one window. We had to pause. We told you there was going to be a pause, but Liverpool aren't finishing this window. And like I've said, it's very unusual for me to be on here talking about the club doing the right things in the right meaningful way in the transfer market. But you have every right to be optimistic and upbeat around this summer, because this is the one that's going to transform the club into a machine. Right, Real Madrid and Madrid Zone have said Madrid will only offer up to 20 to 25 million euro to sign Ibrahim Konate, and Liverpool want more than 50 million euro. Again, varied reports there coming out of Spain about that. But look, if they want Konate and Konate wants them, and we want Rodrygo and Rodrygo's open to the move, you'd have to assume that there's some chance there that Liverpool could work out a deal, right? Right, Alexis McAllister is also wanted by Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, but he also rejected both Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. The World Cup winner is happy at Liverpool, and he's difficult to convince, reports Defence Central. So again, Madrid basically being told, but not just the club, but by McAllister, no chance, not going anywhere, happy at Liverpool, good man Alexis. This is why we love Macca. Right, Alex Crook said, I know Liverpool have been negotiating for some time to try to extend Konate, but at the moment it probably looks more likely that he'll go on a free transfer at the end of the season than extend. Let's wait and see how this one pans out. Now, Bayern Munich have come in with another offer that Liverpool have rejected. This time, €67.5 million, which is about £58.6 million, and it was immediately rejected by Liverpool because Liverpool's valuation, as I've mentioned, is about €85 million. Now, here's big news from David Ornstein about Luis Diaz. He's made it clear he wants to leave Liverpool. So you don't have to listen to me anymore. You don't have to say, Craig, that's your opinion. Ornstein has put it out into the world. He wants to leave Liverpool. So let's make it happen, but on our terms. Right, Santi_J_FM, of course, who covers Madrid, said Liverpool are expected to enter the race for Rodrygo soon. Arne Slot admires the winger a lot. Lads, I'm not going to lie. Before I move on, I'm just going to have to take a minute here, because the idea of Isak or Ekitike, Rodrygo, Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo, Chiesa, come on now. If you need a minute, I understand. If you want to run, get the tissues, I understand. This is getting exciting. Right, Florian Plettenberg said Frankfurt have rejected a written offer from Newcastle worth just under £70 million for Hugo Ekitike. They want more money, basically, and there are clubs who have already signalled they'd be willing to pay more. And guess who's one of them clubs? Hi, we're Liverpool, and we're here with a checkbook and lots of money. Ben Jacobs said Liverpool have made checks on Rodrygo at the start of the transfer window. It remains to be seen whether they follow this up, knowing the winger will decide whether he wants to leave the Santiago Bernabeu in the coming weeks. More on Rodrygo in a minute. Back to David Ornstein. Said Liverpool make approach to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle United. No formal bid, but Newcastle well aware, and Liverpool aware of the stance has always been that he's not for sale. But communicated interest in a deal for the 25-year-old Sweden international worth in the region of £120 million. That's what Liverpool are willing to go to here for Isak. Back to Fabrizio Romano now. Liverpool's management have informed Newcastle about their plans to submit a £120 million proposal for Alexander Isak if the door is open to do so. Next up, we go to another source in Spain, Santi_J_FM, who said Liverpool are expected to enter the race for Rodrygo. Come on, it's getting exciting. And I'm still not finished. There's still more to go. Sasha Cavalieri, friend of the channel. I know we had a fallout, but, we've gone back and forth. We listen to Sasha these days a little bit. Still don't trust everything he says, but there's respect there. Right, things changed in the mind of Newcastle's Saudi's owners regarding Isak, he writes. Unsellable in June, the Magpies have now opened up the possibility of his departure, having advanced on Hugo Ekitike in recent hours. The price, £120 million. Romano, and you can find all of these stories on the Anfield Agenda X account, by the way. Just search at Anfield Agenda. From Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool management informed Newcastle about the plan to submit it. If Isak won't be available, Liverpool will enter the Hugo Ekitike race. So basically, Newcastle are going to lose out somewhere. Will it be Ekitike? Well, yes, if they won't sell us not Newcastle. We don't want the whole club. That's being greedy. If they won't sell us Isak, then we'll be buying Ekitike by the looks of it. So, this from The Athletic. Newcastle have long insisted Isak is not for sale at any price. Here comes the but. But there has always felt that there's a stance that's reliant on what Isak wants. Goes on to say the club have never expected him to push to leave, but should he be attracted by the proposal of moving to Anfield, perhaps that change now means an approach will be made. Let's wait and see. So, another one from the newspaper that I refuse to acknowledge for the same reason they refuse to acknowledge us. Liverpool are stepping up attempts to bolster their striker options, with Newcastle forward Alexander Isak having emerged as the leading target. The growing feeling is Isak could be tempted by a new challenge with the Premier League champions. Right, let's go with another paper, this time I believe coming out of Newcastle. The fears at Newcastle that Liverpool approached today was to unsettle Isak, who's in Austria in pre-season training. Well, yeah, that's kind of how this works, lads. You go into the transfer window, you try to destabilise people if they're at another club. Just ask Real Madrid. We've been on the tail end of that for a while now. Let's move on to Luke Edwards of The Telegraph. Luke said Liverpool would be willing to offer around £120 million, and that has prompted the Newcastle hierarchy to reiterate the message that their star is not available this summer. It remains to be seen whether that deters Liverpool. The suspicion is they would not have made an approach if they had not been encouraged to do so. I agree with that sentiment, by the way. They wouldn't have bothered knocking on the door if Isak hadn't given some encouragement. And Newcastle have been braced for this moment for months and are now mobilising to fight off Liverpool's approach. There is naturally concern that the player will have his head turned by Liverpool's inquiry. And the last thing that I'm going to bring to you guys today is more on Rodrygo. This coming from a very credible Madrid account. Said Liverpool want Rodrygo. His agent, Pina Xavi, is working on the deal. One more thing actually from Florian Plettenberg that's just dropped into my inbox. Understand that Liverpool are preparing an opening bid for Alexander Isak. Meanwhile, Frankfurt are waiting for a new offer from Newcastle for Ekitike, and one club has verbally indicated they are willing to pay more than Newcastle. Want to guess who that club is, folks? That's right, it is Liverpool Football Club. So again, the message will be here to Newcastle. Either Isak is for sale, and if he absolutely isn't for sale, well then we're going to turn our attention and our financial might to trying to get Hugo Ekitike. That is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I need you back here tonight at 8:45. We are going to have some fun. Hope you can join us for it. Much love. We'll talk then.